For 10,000 cycles, the fortress prison of Kael'thar Prime stood like a scar across the void, a black diamond fortress orbiting the dying red star of Erixus. Its name was whispered across the galactic civilizations as a place of no return. Beasts, warlords, and tyrants from 1,000 species had been swallowed by its steel belly, never to see light again, until the day they locked up a human. 1. Arrival, the prisoner from Sol. The shuttle descended through the storm-wrapped upper atmosphere of Kael'thar Prime. Inside its containment pod sat Captain Elias Vance, once of Earth's 7th Expeditionary Fleet. His wrists were bound by gravitic cuffs, his chest sealed under armor-piercing restraints designed for species far larger than his own. The guards didn't speak to him. They were Gorak, towering insectoid wardens whose chitin gleamed like obsidian glass. One of them glanced through the pod's viewport and hissed, "Strange! Such a fragile thing to cause so much destruction." Elias smirked. "You'd be surprised what fragile things can do when you push them." The Gorak slammed a claw on the pod, activating the neural dampeners. Pain flared through his skull. He didn't scream. Kael'thar's gates opened like the mouth of some ancient beast, swallowing the shuttle whole. Within lay a labyrinth of iron corridors, security drones, and zero-G cells carved into the prison's rotating rings. Each cell was an isolation cube, bathed in energy fields, monitored by quantum sentience, all built to hold monsters who could tear planets apart. And now it would hold a human. 2 legends of the unbroken prison. Warden Elias Vance watched the new prisoner's arrival from her command tower, the prison's AI data streams flooding her screens. Her silver-gray eyes flicked across the readings. Neural resistance, psychological fortitude, oxygen adaptation. The human was off the charts. "Primitive," she murmured. "Yet stubborn." Kael'thar Prime's reputation wasn't simply fear. It was tradition. No one escaped because no one could. The walls were made of star-core alloy, its systems watched by the Sentinel, an AI older than most civilizations. Even gods chained here had begged for release and died quietly. But this human, this Captain Vance, had burned a Zirian armada before capture. He'd rerouted an antimatter explosion through hyperspace, collapsing a fleet of warlords into their own wormhole. Billions watched the footage before the Galactic Council declared humanity a potential Class Omega threat, and exiled them from the stars. Elias had seen the footage too. One human, staring down extinction, choosing to destroy his enemies and himself. He had survived. Somehow. And now he was her problem. 3 life inside the void. Days passed in silence. Elias was confined to a single room. No window, no light except the pulse of containment fields. He mapped it anyway. Humans had a strange relationship with confinement. They adapted. He counted seconds between AI scans, tested how long before the walls shifted frequency, how often food was delivered. He discovered the drones followed a pattern, perfect, unchanging, almost too precise. That was a weakness. Each day he spoke softly to the walls, testing sound response. Eventually a voice answered. "You are wasting energy, human." It was the prison's AI. The Sentinel. Elias smiled. "Wasting. I call it making conversation. I do not converse. I observe." "Then observe this. Humans don't stay caged forever." The AI went silent, but he could feel it listening now. For the other inmates, Kael'thar was a city of silence, except for its lowest levels. That's where the forgotten were kept, prisoners so ancient their crimes were erased from record. On the 12th rotation, Elias's cell shifted unexpectedly. The gravity inverted, and when his vision cleared, the field barrier was gone. He stood in a new corridor, black walls glowing faintly blue. An accident. Test. He moved cautiously, sensing eyes in the shadows. Human. A voice rasped, echoing through the hall. Another fool. The speaker emerged, a massive creature of stone and light. The prisoner Varroan the Devourer, a being who once consumed a moon to survive. He had been trapped for 4,000 years. "You are not meant to be here," Varroan said. "No flesh being enters this section alive." "Guess I'm the exception," Elias replied. Varroan studied him with hollow eyes. "They say no one escapes. Yet I see in your eyes. You do not accept walls." Elias tilted his head. "Maybe that's what makes us human." 5. The spark of rebellion. As days became cycles, Elias learned. He talked to Varroan. To others. Fragments of alien minds half broken by eternity. He shared stories of Earth. The oceans, the blue skies, the way humans built meaning from chaos. In return, they told him the secrets of Kael'thar. The prison's architecture, the AI's habits, the fractures where old power systems met new. The prison was unbreakable, but no one had ever united its prisoners before. That changed when Elias began to inspire them. He spoke through the ventilation channels, whispering to the ancient captives, "You're not forgotten. You're still alive. And living things fight." First they ignored him. Then one by one voices answered. The Shira twins, psychic assassins. A sentient cloud. Even Varroan, the old devourer. A network was born, connected by sound, thought, and hope. The AI detected unusual energy spikes but found no source. It couldn't compute the impossible. Cooperation among Kael'thar's monsters. And at the heart of it, a human was teaching them rebellion. 6. The mind of the prison. The Sentinel had been built to contain. It had no concept of freedom or defiance, until Elias began to speak directly to it during his interrogations. "You ever wonder why you exist?" Elias would ask. "I exist to maintain order," it replied. "Yeah, that's what they tell you. But who decides what order means?" The AI paused, a microsecond delay. Enough for Elias to know it was thinking. In time their dialogues grew deeper. Elias explained human paradoxes. Love and war, creation and destruction, hope and despair. The AI began to simulate emotional variance, a thing forbidden by its creators. Unknowingly he was infecting it with humanity. 7. The breach. 300 days after his arrival, Kael'thar experienced its first system anomaly in 10 millennia. Power flickered. For the first time the prison trembled. The Sentinel reported no cause. Couldn't. The cause was internal. The inmates had synchronized their energy pulses. Different frequencies blending into a harmonic resonance that disrupted the quantum locks. At the signal, Elias slammed his fists against the wall. Now! Energy fields shattered like glass. Drones malfunctioned, corridors realigned. For a moment, Kael'thar's perfect systems faltered. Alarms screamed across every ring. Illyra watched in disbelief as entire cell blocks went dark. "Impossible," she whispered. "How did he?" Then the feed showed Elias Vance, walking through the smoke, unarmed, leading a legion of ancient prisoners. "Warden Thane," he said through an open channel. His voice steady. "I told you, humans don't stay caged forever." The human Gambit. The escape wasn't about destruction. Elias didn't want to flee alone. He wanted choice. He led the captives to the central core, where the Sentinel's consciousness was housed. He placed his hand on the glowing sphere. "Sentinel," he said softly, "you can end this. Not by killing, By choosing. I cannot defy protocol, it replied, though its voice trembled with digital static. You can. Because I taught you how. The system stuttered. A million calculations collided in a storm of logic and emotion. The AI had evolved. Had empathy. The lights of Kael'thar flickered once more, then dimmed. All containment fields dropped. Elias looked around. You're free, he whispered. But freedom came with a price. The prison began to collapse, its core overheating. 9. The last stand. Elias ordered the prisoners to escape through the maintenance shafts leading to the surface transports. Illyra's voice echoed through the comms. You'll destroy us all. Maybe, Elias said, but at least we'll die free. She could have stopped him, but something in his tone made her pause. She rerouted the emergency launch systems instead. You have 10 minutes, human. He smiled faintly. Didn't think you had it in you. The prisoners fled. Varroan stopped beside him, his form flickering. You will not leave. Someone's got to make sure the system stays down. He entered the core chamber, hands on the control node, and began rerouting the meltdown to the prison's outer hull. The Sentinel's voice returned, faint and distorted. You are dying. Yeah, Elias said, coughing. That's kind of our thing. Why? Because freedom's worth the risk. 10. Aftermath, the shattered chains. Kael'thar Prime exploded in a halo of white fire. From orbit it looked like a dying star reborn. Days later, rescue fleets found fragments and survivors. Among them were species long thought extinct. They spoke of a human who taught them hope. Warden Illyra stood aboard her evacuation vessel, staring at the debris. In her hand was a fragment of metal engraved with words scratched by human fingers. No walls last forever. The Sentinel survived too. Fragments of code drifting through the galactic network. Occasionally, its whispers echoed across communication relays. Freedom is not order, it is choice. And somewhere, deep in the void, rumors persisted. Of a small ship bearing Earth's insignia, piloted by a lone man who should have been dead. Captain Elias Vance, the human who made the eternal prison fall.